This is not a normal MiniGP Academy NZ video. This is one that really matters. We've been operating now for just over a year, and the progression has been just phenomenal. The concept of how can we enable Kiwi juniors to get into road racing specifically at that forming, brainstorming age of sort of 6 to 7 years old, and where that's evolved from to now we have 7-year-olds competing in a multi-round series and have traveled overseas and competed in Australia, broken lap records in Australia, and even gone beyond. It's been humbling as a person who's been involved since the start. And what we want to do is we want to keep going. After dedicating 2 years of my life to motorcycle instruction, and specifically on track instruction, I found my place working with juniors. You can see we've set this up properly. We have 7 MiniGP bikes in this one trailer. We have all the leathers, custom made Shark one-piece race suits. They go from ages 6 all the way up to teens. We've even got a couple of adult suits in there as well. We've got all the boots, all the gloves, all the helmets, all the gears, all the spears, to make sure whenever we go anywhere in the North Island, or even if we went to the South Island, we can put on the best training package that New Zealand's ever seen. If you've been seeing this video, it's because you're one of those few people in this country who have talked about or reminisce of how many Kiwis we used to have at the top of the stage when it comes to MotoGP or World Superbike. And what you've done is gone, why aren't there any more Kiwis there? Go Cormac Buchanan, you're doing so well. But how do we get more? Why did we used to have so many coming through every year? And why has that stopped now? We've achieved more than we ever thought we would. We've created training programs to go from 0 riding experience to have a go around an open area, to track days at a Kartsport venue, to 4 levels of formal training and instruction, to a race assessment, to getting our machines and other machines into MNZ rules, to get those machines and those riders able to compete at road racing series such as Victoria Motorcycle Club and the junior development class. And now we want to keep on growing, and instead of the numbers staying the same, we need them to rapidly increase. The Academy and the steps that you go through from have a go to track day to formal training and then on to race assessment and further racing series is priced at the most achievable, most palatable range we could afford. The downside of this is the profits, they just aren't there. So what do we do about this? We put our money where our mouths are. We stop talking about how come. And back in our day, every bike shop had a race team. And back in our day, every kid had a race bike. The talking needs to stop and the doing needs to start. The avenues for R15 and entry-level racing on big racetracks already exist, well established in New Zealand, Australia, and further afield. But if we don't have kids coming in at the bottom, if we don't give them foundational skills and ability to practice and then compete in a safe environment, by the time they get to the R15s, it's too late. We need investment. We need investment. We need to fuel the fire so that we can keep burning, keep running, keep rolling for another 12, 24, and 36 months. I need to be able to keep the prices exactly where they are. I need to keep my bikes maintained, and I need to keep the ability for me to commit and do multiple weekends a month and do multiple events a month around multiple locations. And that's where you will help me the most. This is something that's really un-Kiwi, makes me feel quite uncomfortable to say, I need help. I need investment. I need to stick my hand out and say, who of you can help? Who of you could throw in $10,000? How many of your friends could throw in $10,000? How many of us have got 5, 10, 20, 30 beautiful classic bikes in a shed somewhere? And we love those bikes, and we love the history of the bikes and New Zealand racing and New Zealand road riding. The problem is with those things is so few get to see them, so few get to experience them. And in 5, 10, 15 years' time, how big or how small will the road racing scene be? Now is the time to inject into the scene. Now is the time to make sure that the change we make grows, evolves, and completely envelops the world with Kiwi riders on the racing scene. People are doing it pretty tough right now. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world. Cost of gas, pretty darn high. Some people are struggling to put food on the table. Absolutely. But what happens if we say, we acknowledge all that, we understand all that, but I have the means and I can say, to hell with all that. Let's do it anyway.